Be sure to join Fox Sports Radio's M Drive $1 Million Bracket Challenge. That's right, the $1 Million Bracket Challenge. If you fill out a perfect bracket at foxsportsradio.com, you will win $1 million. You heard me correctly. And it's happened before. People have filled out perfect brackets. You compete against Fox Sports Radio hosts like myself and Rob Parker, as well as other fellow listeners. The listener in first place, even without a perfect bracket, wins $1,000 in the form of a gift card. Second place gets $300. Third place, $200. And you can fill out your bracket now and get the official rules at foxsportsradio.com. It's the Fox Sports Radio M Drive $1 Million Bracket Challenge. Refind your prime with M Drive. Rob, I did my bracket today, right before the show.
Yeah, I need to do mine. I got to get mine in by tomorrow, right?
Yes, you better hustle.
No,
I just put in the perfect bracket. I want that millie.
Yeah, okay.
What you know about basketball?
And then you could take that money and pay your car off with that $1 million.
Look at you. You the one driving around in a, I won't say what, but it's nice. I respect Damian Lillard, and I've said it before. I respect his stance that this is my team, and I'm going to try my best to win it right here in Portland. My style isn't to go join a super team. I respect it just like I respected it with Russell Westbrook and just like I respected it with Allen Iverson, who ended up getting traded, but it wasn't his choice. Those guys have said, look, this is my team. I'm loyal, and if we can't, I'm going to, give everything I got, blood, sweat, and tears, 150% to get it done here and bring this franchise a championship. And I can live with it if I don't. So I respect that. But, and this is just the cold, I believe, Rob, the cold, hard reality of the situation. Like I said, to me, Damian Lillard already is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's already going to go down, as a great. I mean, that's an all-time great. He's not top 20, anything like that, but an all-time great player because he's a Hall of Famer. But he will, to me, Rob, he will never be as appreciated as he should be unless he goes to play with a super team and wins a championship. Now, you could say, yeah, if he wins one in Portland, then certainly he will be. But I'm just saying, looking at this squad, they're good. They're not a championship team. And so I use Harden as Exhibit A. James Harden, we know how great he was in Houston. Same thing, Hall of Famer, won an MVP, all that. But now, Rob, you can see it now. Just now the level of appreciation for Harden has gone way up. And they haven't even won anything yet. And I think they will win a championship. But if Harden wins a championship, then his legacy is going to be even greater than it was with all the numbers he put up in Houston. And I think Dame is in the same boat.
Yeah, I'm just not of that school. There are a lot of great players who didn't win championships. Does that mean Karl Malone's not the second all-time leading scorer?
I'm not saying he's not great.
Or Charles Barkley's not a great player. We all know. I'm just saying, Chris, you're right. You could say, I don't know, is Dame Lillard, if he plays all these years in Portland, his last year he goes on and he's Gary Payton and he hooks onto a team and wins a championship at the end. Does that mean all of a sudden it's right? It doesn't change.
Yeah, there comes a point. Yeah, you got to be a main. Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Gary Payton, Alonzo Mourning, remember, same thing. Yeah,
nobody looks at those. Right.
It really didn't. Even David Robinson to some degree, right? He was still a really good player in their first championship with Duncan. Yeah. But did it really change his legacy?
No. That's what I'm trying to say, right, is that I hear your point in the way people talk about it, but I think if he's able to stay there, get them to a championship, win a championship, and if they win one,
well, yeah, I think that,
obviously,
no doubt.
And that's all he would just have to do. If he won one and he did it on his own, people would look at his career and say it's incredible. He was in Portland.
No doubt.
He didn't run anywhere else to go try to stack a team. He went through the trials and tribulations. They got swept in the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago, Chris, and he was able to stick it out, and guys, played, and they developed a guy, or they got lucky in a draft and got some player or something, And I think people would appreciate that. I understand.
There's no doubt.
What world we live in, and people want instant gratification. If you don't have, you don't have a ring, all of a sudden, nothing you do matters. I don't prescribe to that. I understand how, if you're talking about the greatest of all times, how that factors in. But talking about just greatness, it shouldn't have to include a championship because everybody can't win. Everybody can't. Reggie Miller was a great player. He didn't win. Patrick Ewing, I covered Patrick every night. Nobody wanted to win or played harder than him or Charles Oakley. Those are the guys I watched every night. They wanted to win so bad, and they did everything. Charles Oakley used to jump into the crowd to get a loose ball, Chris, in the second quarter.
Well, they all want to win.
I'm just saying, but it doesn't mean that Patrick Ewing's career was a waste or no good because he didn't win a championship.
I agree, but and I think some of this, Rob, is the change in the way things are done. I think we can argue before LeBron goes to Miami, maybe the thinking would have been, nah, you more respected if you stay there and don't win than if you go join a super team and win. But now that everything's changed, Kevin Durant, if he had stayed in Oklahoma City, and you're right, I mean, who knows? Maybe Lillard will win one in Portland. I don't see it. Now, like you said, if they get another great player somehow, but right now it doesn't look like that's on the horizon. But if Kevin Durant has stayed in OKC and never won a championship with Golden State, even as people want to put a mental asterisk on him and stuff, the fact is his legacy is greater because he does have those rings. Harden's legacy will be greater if he wins the championship in Brooklyn this year, next year, whatever. And that's all. I agree with you. It's not fair because Damian Lillard is straight up great.
Right.
But I don't think he'll ever be as appreciated as he should be or could be unless he wins the championship. And you are right in that it has to be like in his prime, and he's a
major
driving
part
force.
Of it. Right,
Absolutely.
right.
It can't be, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it can't be you riding somebody else's coattails and all that. And I just think that's how it is, Rob, unfortunately. Now, I will give you this. As great as Dame is, he's not, and maybe it's just because of his size, because very few point guards, small point guards, have led their teams to championships. So maybe he gets an out with that. But, he is not like LeBron kind of had to win because he was being compared to Michael Jordan and all that. Kevin Durant kind of had to win because he was being compared to LeBron James. Giannis, Rob, Giannis is in that class where he better win. Ewing was, Rob. As great as we know Ewing was, there are people that don't appreciate Ewing for as good. There are people that say, it was nice in New York, man. But when they won that draft lottery, Rob, you know what the thinking was. Happy days are here again because we about to win some championships. And it never happened.
No doubt. They went to the finals twice. Right. They just didn't win.
Right. And people can appreciate him more now. When he's done playing, people respect him and all that. But in New York, Rob, I mean, there's some people that still, he never got him that ring, and they're sore about it. And so it's not fair, but I do feel like just think about it. If the Nets win it this year, Rob, how much is that going to enhance James Harden's legacy?
A lot. There's no doubt about it, and especially if he's in the MVP conversation or even if he wins it. I mean, it will change a lot. But also we saw a lot, and there's no doubt, they already have great players, but we saw him change his game, Chris, to fit what was going on there. And I think that's the part where you look and go, he didn't just show up and jump on the bandwagon and Durant and Kyrie were already rolling. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
He's as big of a part of what's going on now. if anything, who knows? Durant might be the Johnny-come-lately when they get down to it. I mean, they don't seem to lose, and Durant hasn't played. I mean, it's incredible.
No, I think Harden is the key, period. And we both, everybody pretty much agrees Durant's the best player. But Harden is the key. He makes the engine go. And so, yeah, it's I don't think Dame would do it. I mean, he said it as much several times, and I respect it again. But this dude is awesome, and I don't know that it'll fully get appreciated as it should unless he wins, goes to a super team and wins it, unless he can somehow lead Portland where he is. All right, let's take these calls, Rob. Should Lillard join a super team? Willie, is that what it will take for him to be appreciated for the greatness, as great as he really is? He's out, like I said, I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
All right, let's kick it off with Murphy's Oil in Orlando. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Murphy? You've heard that a million times, right?
Yeah, man, no doubt. Hey, I appreciate Worship Wednesday, by the way, just to start off right there.
Thank you, bro.
Why we can't respect his mind? Because why can't he recruit people to come to him? You can't knock a dude for doing it the old school way and then throw him under the bus because he ain't doing what the new people are doing. No different than the dude for Toronto, Kyle Lowry. That's his team.
Lowry's not as good. Lowry's not as good. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Like
Dwayne Wade.
I hear you, though. We respect. Well,
Dwayne Wade, did he recruit LeBron? Or did LeBron recruit him?
I mean, I think it was all three of them together. Look, I hear you, and I know Rob stated it. I stated it, too. We respect Lillard. I have nothing but respect for it. I'm just saying in today's climate, I hear you. But in today's climate, it's like if you don't get that ring, yeah, you'll be great like Barkley and Ewing and Karl Malone and all that. But I don't know if people are going to understand how great Lillard is unless he gets that ring.
It's too many good players out here. Once you see somebody who is dedicated, that's a guy I want to play with.
I hear you.
I know he's going to have my back towards the end.
We know all that. I mean,
I told Chris Broussard to stay at the Akron Beacon Journal and not go to the New York Times, that he could have been a great sports writer at Akron.
Right.
He just
Guess what?
I
would not be here right now on the radio with you. You know that.
Yes, you would. All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Mark in Sacramento. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What you got, Mark?
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on,
gentlemen? Hey, Chris, real quick. First of all, do me a favor. Try to stop Brandon Marshall from talking about basketball in the mornings, man. I know that's got to be painful. Got to be painful for you, and man, it's got to be painful for you.
It makes for nice fodder.
Real quick. He's in a no-win situation because, first of all, we've created an environment where we tell these guys we respect them for staying where they are. And then we say, but if you don't, and you don't get that ring and go join the super team, it's going to hurt your legacy. So which one is it? Do we want them to stay and try, or do we want them to leave? And I always say about rings, that's why I don't like having this conversation. Rings are organizational. They have something to do with injuries. And it definitely is situational. Can you get along? Does the organization hire the right guy? And does injuries decimate a team like it has the Warriors the last couple of years? So that's what rings come from. Not just one guy or trying to recruit a guy to come play with you. And sometimes guys just don't want to come to a city or their families move their families. So it's not just, hey, come play with me. So there's a lot of factors in this recruiting, who's going to play with who. So that's just how I look at the ring thing. That's how I look at it.
It's true. And Portland, have you been up there, Mark?
It rains all the time. I went up there in 92.
You know what? It's a beautiful city, but it does, would I want to live there because of the rain?
Let's just be honest. I'm sorry.
If it wasn't for the Nike store up there, Rob, you know that.
Nike store, Nike
Nike
compound.
Campus.
Are you kidding? Campus.
But that's where everybody, once you get there, that's a trip. That's an automatic trip.
No doubt. No doubt, guys.
I hear you, Mark, and you're right. And it's really more of an unfortunate perception, Rob, because it really doesn't change. I mean, look, if you lead a team to a championship, you get a little more love. And I guess that's how it should be.
No, that's how it is.
I mean, that's how it is. And So, but the fact is, Lillard could be, if he went to join a super team, it wouldn't mean he was any better, right? Especially if he joins two other superstars and wins. It doesn't mean he was better individually, but his historical rank would probably go up high.
Right.
You know
it
what
would
I'm
just
saying?
add to it. That's
right.
all. It
Right.
would, once you start like weeding out who great players are, the guy with a ring who helped him win a championship would probably get a nod a little bit because
Right.
people will remember that.
Right. He is an NBA champion. He's a Fox Sports Radio NBA analyst, 3-point sniper until I take that title in a few months. Our man, Eddie House. What up, man?
What's happening? Hey, man, don't hold your breath with that, though. Please don't hold your breath with taking that title.
What'd you say? Don't what?
Don't hold his breath with taking that title. He talking about he going to take the title, the 3-point
I'm
title.
out in the driveway throwing up J's, my man.
Okay. We'll see.
All right. Thank you. Yes. And he just said it. Eddie, he's in the driveway. Remember that.
I'm just trying to say, though.
Our man, E-House. Eddie, we were just talking about Dame Dollar, obviously having a great year, 30.5 points a game he's averaging. You saw him last night with the 5-0. And I was saying, I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So his legacy is being built, and I think he's already going to go down as at least a Hall of Famer. But I feel like, Eddie, in today's climate with the super teams and all that, I don't know that Dame will ever be fully appreciated for as great as he is unless he were to join a super team and win a championship. Because I don't see him leading Portland to a championship. So what do you think about that?
Well, I can tell you this. He's not going to join a super team. He already had opportunities to do that. I feel I've seen him in numerous interviews, and I've heard things that he said. He said guys could come where he's at, but he's not going to go start piecing up people together.
Right.
He said, sure, he made calls to people and stuff like that, but we know Portland's not extremely attractive to the free agents, especially when, you got so many other places you could go to that's weather-wise is much better and marketing-wise is much better. But I don't think that Dame cares about what people really think about his legacy, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit. I've seen him on $1 million worth of game interview, and he said, his legacy goes far beyond basketball, and what he reaches and what he touches, that's more important to him. Of course, he's going to take pride in what he does on the court, but he does so many things in the communities of Oakland and around the Portland area and things like that. So his legacy, he feels, is much broader than just basketball. And as far as him handling his business on the basketball court, he's been doing that a phenomenal job of that. So as a former player and guys that played the game and guys that really understand the game of basketball, understand how great Dame Lillard is. And I don't think that he'll be defined by winning a championship. I think everybody's kind of getting blown away with you have to be defined by winning the championship. Look at Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is an all-time great, never got to win one. So, and there's many more of those guys. Karl Malone, all-time great, never
Patrick
got to win
Ewing.
one.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Patrick Ewing, all-time great. Their legacies are stamped by what they've done personally on the court, and then especially when you do things in the community to help the community, to lift up the community, you definitely get everybody's stamp of approval from that point on your legacy.
I'm with you, Eddie. I think that we've gotten tied up in this. If he's a great player, he's a great player, and everybody can't win. That's just the facts, right? There are going to be some guys who just don't win, and teaming up, especially if you go join a team at the end of your career trying to tack on a championship, that's not going to change people's minds, right?
Well, not the end of the career, no.
Right, at the end. So,
but let me say this, Rob, too, and Eddie, you were with KG and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce in Boston the first year y'all won the championship in 2008, and KG didn't want to go. Remember, he wanted to stay in Minnesota, where he was loyal to that franchise and all that. And then when he got to Boston, you guys obviously had the great year and even a great run period they had. He saw, like, I don't think he knew how great it was to be a part of a championship team because he had never felt it, obviously. But you know what I'm saying? Like, did he ever talk with y'all about that?
No, well, you know, he got to the West. He had a hell of a team in Minnesota when they got to the Western Conference Finals.
Right, but I'm saying, but they still never.
MVP, so he's on the
remember,
cusp of winning,
then the
so
years after that, they went like 2 or 3 straight years. I think 3 straight years. He didn't even make the playoffs before he went to Boston.
Yeah, and it wasn't for his play, though. It had nothing to do with his play. It just was the surrounding players. So they were able to build something to be really competitive, to be right there and have an opportunity. They just ran into the wrong team at the time, you know, and at the end of the day, that's what happens, you know, and that happened to a lot of these players. They fight through the tough times. They get a good team around them, but they run into a team that's just a little better, to where it was just the wrong time. Say a couple years after, maybe a couple years before, they might would have had a chance to get to the finals. And once you get in it, you know, anything can happen, you know. But I think that once he was able to go to Boston and see, you know, when he got not only the team around him, he had the coaching around him, then the bench was there with them, the organization as a whole, the city of Boston as a whole, as they get behind their sports franchises and their athletes. It was just a different feeling and a different understanding and a different level than he had experienced in Minnesota, a whole nother level.
I'm glad you brought up Boston. Which way are the Celtics going? And are they going to get this righted? I mean, they just had another bad loss, right, the other night?
Well, Utah beat them. They were up, but Utah
they were up,
came
right?
Back
They
and
were
beat
up,
them.
right, and then Utah came back to beat them. What can the Celtics make a turnaround there? Is there something broke there? Something because they were struggling big time. Then they won a number of games, but then now they've lost a couple. Where are the Celtics? Are they a real threat in the East or not?
I think they're a talented team. They have a few guys that are really, really talented on that team, but they don't have enough. You got to look what they're competing against now. You know, you got the Sixers, you got the Nets.
Right.
They're competing against teams that have more than 1 or 2 superstars. And we're talking about some young budding players right now with Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown. These are youngsters, so they're going to have to go through their growing pains like everybody else did, you know. But I think they have to be surrounded with a little bit more. I just don't think they have enough. I don't think that they have enough to get over the hump. Now, can they compete, make the playoffs? Yeah, they can make the play. And it pains me to say this. And, yeah, they can make the playoffs. But can they win another championship with the team that's constructed right now? I highly doubt it. You have to be able to add more pieces. You can't lose the pieces that you have that are going to be the backbone of the franchise, but you have to be able to put pieces around them that still allow them, the young players that are growing into their superstardom, to showcase their talents, but then also have somebody to enhance them and also be able to get off their game as well to put them on another level. But right now, they just don't. The way that team is constructed, and I hate to say, they just don't have enough.
You're out in Arizona, Eddie. Phoenix second seeded in the West, which is huge. But I don't consider them a legit contender out West. Like, I mean, if everybody's healthy, the Lakers, the Clippers, I don't see Phoenix really having a legitimate chance to win the West. Are you with me, or you think, hey, they're as good as anybody out there?
I think that when the game slows down in the playoffs, it'll be a different type of matchup that they'll have. Do I think that they have enough? I think they do have enough to compete. Will they be able to get over the hump? Yeah, I think you have Monty Williams, a hell of a coach. James Jones has put together this team in a fabulous way, to where he's put pieces around Devin Booker to allow Devin Booker to be Devin Booker, the one that we all expected him to be. Chris Paul has came in. I think that was a masterful sign by James Jones to get Chris Paul in, get Devin Booker off the ball, to be able to get him in spots to where he has a live dribble and he can focus on being himself as far as scoring and don't have to really worry too much about trying to be the facilitator and the scorer, carrying the whole load. Guys getting healthy. I think they can compete. This is the thing, scary thing, though, Chris, is once you believe, when you get belief, that's all that you need. That's all that you need if you have enough talent. I believe they have enough talent, and with that talent, they do have belief in that locker room that they belong. And when you have that, sometimes that's scarier than teams that do have talent that have some doubt. We see with the Clippers, you spoke about the Clippers and Kawhi talking about they need to be more consistent. One thing about the Suns, they have been consistent.
Deontay Wilder believed he could beat Tyson Fury.
Oh, stop it. Listen to Chris.
Hey, you see?
You know why? Well, you know why? He put him on the canvas. He had a
right. He
thought
was
he actually
seconds
beat
away
him.
from that. Right. He was seconds away
Yeah,
from winning
so he
that
should
first fight.
believe that. He should believe that in the first fight. You know?
You see Fury and Anthony Joshua going to fight. Who you like in that one?
Ooh, I think Tyson Fury just has such an awkward style. You know, I think it's hard for guys to kind of get the timing on him and get the rhythm. But I think to me, I just want to see a great fight. And I think it's going to be a great fight. Anthony Joshua has that one punch power, just like any heavyweight does. I like his skill set, but I just think Tyson Fury has just that unorthodox style that frustrates boxers that are used to just seeing somebody who stands in front of them with a little head movement, a little foot movement. He has a lot of stuff going on, man. So I think it'll be an extremely entertaining fight. I can't wait for it.
Yep, agreed. That's our man, Eddie House,
Eddie
the
House,
NBA
thank you,
champion.
buddy.
Great stuff, brother.
All right, you guys take care, man.
All right, man. Peace.